The Ukrainian battlefield was ablaze as the Russian military unleashed a colossal steel punch, with dozens of tanks and armored vehicles advancing like a mechanized tide. The roar of engines mingled with erratic artillery fire to create an overwhelming atmosphere, aimed at crushing all resistance through brute force. However, that overconfidence was merely a one-way ticket straight into a kill zone, meticulously orchestrated in advance by the Ukrainian army. From high above, the cold, sharp electronic eyes of reconnaissance drones had silently locked onto every movement of their prey. A scenario of destruction unfolded when the Russian formation stumbled upon an invisible minefield, becoming completely paralyzed and exposed to a storm of pinpoint-accurate firepower from the HIMARS system. This was not just an engagement, it was a fierce mechanized slaughterhouse where long-range firepower and modern drone technology synergized to turn Russia's ambitions into blazing piles of scrap metal in the blink of an eye. The Russian military's confidence on the battlefield is often expressed through massive mechanized advances, and this time was no exception. A long line of heavy steel blocks, from modern T-80 main battle tanks to BMP armored personnel carriers, steadily rolled into the sprawling fields of eastern Ukraine. The tactical intent of the Russian commanders was very clear: to use a massive volume of firepower and armor to create a psychological shock, crushing Ukraine's fragile defensive strongpoints with speed and brute force. They believed that with overwhelming numbers, no defensive barrier could stand firm. However, battlefield reality is a harsh judge, and the Russian military made a fatal mistake by underestimating the enemy's area denial capabilities. When the convoy entered a narrow corridor between tree lines, originally considered the optimal march route to avoid being detected from afar, they officially stepped into a fatal choke point. Ukraine had not merely laid mines, they had executed a mine barrage campaign with dense concentration and extreme sophistication. Suddenly, an explosion tore through the air. The lead tank, which was the drill bit of the entire formation, ran over a TM-62 anti-tank mine. The blast pressure blew off the vehicle's tracks, turning the tens of tons steel mass into an immobile obstacle right in the middle of the road. In a split second, the smoothness of the advance was broken. In the rear, chaos began to spread within the psychology of the Russian crews. According to instinct and basic combat manuals, when the spearhead is halted, trailing vehicles must find a way to bypass it to maintain the attack momentum. The second vehicle attempted to maneuver past the left flank of the lead vehicle, but after only a few meters, a second explosion rang out. Mud and metal shrapnel splattered as the next armored vehicle was neutralized. At this point, the trap had completely sprung. The Russian formation fell into a dilemma. To advance meant facing a dense, uncleared minefield. To retreat meant colliding with the vehicles piling up behind. And to stand still was no different from turning themselves into static flesh targets. This paralysis was not accidental, but the result of a cold tactical calculation by Ukraine. They had studied the terrain, accurately predicted the Russian march direction, and established mine strips to force the enemy to bunch up at pre-marked coordinates. The entire chaos, from desperate maneuvering efforts to APC armored vehicles running over mines while attempting to turn around, was recorded in detail by Ukraine's all-seeing eyes. Mavic and Autel reconnaissance drones silently hovered at altitudes of hundreds of meters, transmitting high-resolution images back to the command center in real time. To the Ukrainian drone pilots, the image of the Russian convoy piling up into a giant mechanized mass in the middle of the field was not just a reconnaissance triumph, but an invitation to a large-scale execution about to begin. The exact coordinates had been locked, artillery units had received their orders, and death was programmed to rain down from the sky. The terrifying silence following the initial mine explosions was merely the lull before a storm of firepower with exponentially greater destructive force. When the Russian armored formation was locked into a narrow space, unable to advance or retreat, they inadvertently completed the final piece of the destructive puzzle that the Ukrainian army had painstakingly prepared. At concealed positions tens of kilometers away, Ukrainian HIMARS launchers and self-propelled artillery batteries began receiving the final streams of coordinate data. This was no longer a conventional artillery duel. This was an execution with precision measured in meters, where satellite navigation technology and brute explosive power converged to eradicate all life within the target zone. The wind-tearing shriek of GMLRS missiles from the HIMARS system rang out, slashing the sky before striking directly amidst the chaotic mass of Russian tanks and armored vehicles. The initial moment the warheads struck their targets was a shock of extreme heat and pressure. Ukraine had decided to unleash the most terrifying weapon for clustered targets: cluster munitions. A few dozen meters above the Russian formation, the warheads burst open, releasing hundreds of submunitions that carpeted the ground. The sky lit up with thousands of deadly sparks, creating a horrific spectacle like a rain of fire from hell. Each submunition was a combination of high explosives and conical fragmentation, designed to pierce the thin armor on the vehicle's roof, the fatal weakness of all Russian tank series. The devastation was instantaneous and unstoppable. The APCs, originally equipped only with armor to protect against infantry small arms, became as fragile as paper under the rain of cluster munitions. The sound of metal being torn apart and the screams of soldiers trapped inside blended into the continuous, deafening explosions. The overpressure from the artillery explosions, coupled with the intense heat, turned the vehicle compartments into giant ovens. The horror did not stop with the external firepower. As the shrapnel and high temperatures penetrated the interior of the vehicles, they found the most dangerous target: the ammunition compartment. This was the exact moment the battle transitioned from chaos to a catastrophe of absolute violence. The Russian tanks, notorious for a turret design prone to blowing off when the internal ammunition detonates, began turning into giant fireworks. An earth-shattering secondary explosion occurred when dozens of 125mm shells inside a T-80 simultaneously detonated. Ferocious flames erupted from the hatches, hurling the tens of tons heavy turret into the air before it crashed down, crushing whatever was left of the tank itself. Pitch-black smoke billowed hundreds of meters high, obscuring an entire section of the battlefield, but even that smoke could not save the remaining vehicles. Ukrainian artillery, working in seamless coordination with HIMARS, maintained a relentless rate of fire on the only escape routes the Russian troops were desperately making for. Every time a group of vehicles attempted to break away from the wreckage to seek a way out, a barrage of precise artillery fire immediately extinguished that hope. This was a literal mechanized slaughterhouse, where Russia's military logic of concentrated power had become its fatal flaw. Funneling too many vehicles into a narrow space, without the protection of effective short-range air defense systems or high-speed mine-clearing capabilities, had turned this entire assault unit into easy prey for Ukraine's long-range firepower. At the epicenter of that firestorm, Russia's tactical doctrine completely collapsed. The commanding officers on the ground had either perished in the first few seconds or completely lost their ability to coordinate as communication systems were disrupted by the overwhelming pressure of the firepower. Panicked Russian soldiers leapt from the burning vehicles, only to realize that the ground around them remained an unexploded minefield and the sky continued to rain down cruel punishment. This absolute destruction not only claimed lives and equipment, but it also completely broke the fighting will of anyone still surviving in that pocket of fire. Ukraine had proven a cold reality. On the modern battlefield, sheer numbers are no longer a protective shield if you cannot control the skies and the information space. And just as the HIMARS rain ceased, the lucky few who hadn't been incinerated by artillery had to face a new nightmare, infinitely more persistent and cunning, lurking right within the black smoke. When the thick black smoke from the HIMARS and cluster munition explosions began to dissipate, the battlefield did not become quiet at all. Instead, a high-pitched, piercing, and haunting shrieking sound began to envelop the space. It was the engine noise of dozens of FPV first-person view drones swarming in like a hive of angry hornets. If HIMARS and artillery were the sledgehammers that smashed the structure of the Russian military's formation, then the drone swarm was the sharp scalpels, controlled by highly skilled hands to execute the final finishing blow on the remaining ruins. For the Russian soldiers lucky enough to survive the rain of long-range firepower, the true nightmare was only just officially beginning a relentless pursuit with no escape, where cheap technology triumphed over multi-million-dollar war machines. The Russian vehicles still capable of moving began to frantically turn around, attempting to escape the kill zone in sheer panic. However, in the modern combat environment that Ukraine had established, fleeing was sometimes even more dangerous than standing still. Ukrainian drone pilots, sitting in bunkers several kilometers away, observed the battlefield through VR goggles with a cold composure. They did not select targets randomly. Each drone, carrying an anti-tank explosive charge or a thermite munition, was navigated to target the most fatal weaknesses of Russian armor: the turret ring, the engine compartment hatch, or the fragile side armor. To counter the drone threat, which had become a terrifying obsession over the recent period, the Russian military had attempted to adapt by equipping makeshift armor layers, often sarcastically referred to as iron cages or turtle armor. Furthermore, in a desperate effort to minimize heat signatures and protect the vehicles from shaped charge warheads, many Russian crews had covered their vehicles with thick rubber sheets or highly flammable composite materials. The mindset behind this decision was to create a buffer layer to prematurely detonate the drone's warhead before it touched the main armor. However, this creativity turned into a fatal mistake when facing Ukraine's flexibility and new types of munitions. Ukraine quickly adapted by utilizing thermite munitions on their kamikaze drones. When a drone carrying a thermite munition crashed into the Russian armor covered in rubber and makeshift materials, an extremely violent chemical reaction occurred, generating a heat flux of up to 2,500 degrees Celsius. Instead of protecting the vehicle, this makeshift armor became the perfect kindling. The thermite fire rapidly incinerated the rubber layer, poured into the engine's cooling vents, and burned everything inside. The Russian tanks, which were previously only slightly damaged, now turned into giant torches in the middle of the field, where the makeshift armor originally intended to save the crew's lives now became an iron cage imprisoning them in a sea of fire. The brutality was pushed to a climax as Ukrainian drone pilots demonstrated masterful control skills in cleaning up the battlefield. Upon spotting armored vehicles abandoned by panicked Russian soldiers, even if the vehicles were mechanically intact, Ukraine had absolutely no intention of giving the enemy a chance to tow them back for repairs. The tiny drones were steered to weave through wide-open hatches, flying straight into the driving cabin or troop compartment and detonating. An explosion from the inside always yielded absolute destructive efficiency, tearing apart the vehicle's superstructure and ensuring that the machine would forever remain on the battlefield as a useless pile of scrap metal. Why did Ukraine prioritize such thorough destruction? It was a long-term strategic decision. In a war of attrition, neutralizing a vehicle is only the first step. Preventing the enemy's ability to recover and re-equip is the decisive factor for victory. Every completely incinerated BMP or T-80 is a massive logistical burden for Russia and a psychological victory for Ukraine. The sight of drone swarms continuously swooping down, hunting individual soldiers or vehicles trying to hide in the tree lines, created a paralyzing psychological effect. Russian soldiers understood that once they fell into the sights of Ukrainian drones, death was only a matter of time, and no steel armor or cover could protect them against these mini Grim Reapers capable of slipping into the deepest crevices. The collapse of this offensive exposed a grim reality regarding the obsolescence of traditional military doctrines when confronted with drone warfare. Russia had attempted to use numbers and muscular strength to punch through, but they failed against a modern, multi-layered defensive network where information and precision were prioritized above all else. The bulky makeshift armor layers not only failed to salvage the situation but also backfired, proving the Russian military's bewilderment in the face of Ukraine's unconventional strikes. As the sun set on the field full of mechanized debris, all that remained was the crackling sound of cooling metal, and the glowing red light from the burning vehicle wrecks a silent yet brutal picture marking the total failure of an ambitious offensive campaign. The massive offensive by the Russian military, with its ambition to tear apart the front line, has ended in a complete and bitter defeat. The once peacefully stretching fields have now been transformed into a giant mechanized graveyard, where the wrecks of tanks and armored vehicles lie scattered, burning fiercely like milestones of tactical blunder. The perfect combination of deadly blocking minefields, surgical precision strikes from the HIMARS system, and the brutal sweep of the FPV drone swarm has created an airtight defensive network. Ukraine did not merely repel an offensive, they carried out a digital execution where all Russian maneuvering efforts were stifled and punished from the very beginning. This battle sends a cold and ironclad message to any military force that still believes in the doctrine of crushing quality with quantity. powerful firepower, and overwhelming armored numbers will become meaningless, even a suicidal burden, if they lack synergistic coordination and the ability to master the battle space. When facing a modern multi-layered defensive network and the absolute transparency of the battlefield under the eyes of drones, Russia's heavy steel blocks are reduced to mere moving targets waiting for their hour of death. This is a clear testament to the ascendancy of technology and flexible tactical thinking, where the smarter and more agile will be the ones writing the rules of the game. What do you think about the terrifying power of the HIMARS system when operated in synergy with kamikaze drone swarms and invisible minefields? Has the era of large-scale armored assaults truly come to an end in the face of modern technological power? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below so we can discuss this further. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the most authentic, in-depth, and fiercest battlefield analyses in our upcoming bulletins.